my name is Don Vanderjack and welcome back to my one-stall workshop. A couple of people actually emailed me and wanted to know a little bit more about my workshop, and so I thought I would bring everybody up to date with my very short journey in woodworking so far. So I'll give you a little preview of what my shop is and what it came from. This is a one-stall garage. It's attached to a 50-year-old brick ranch, and it was, for a while, it was actually used as a garage, and then as we started moving things around, we started doing some remodeling. It became sort of a work area, and then it kind of collected some junk. And then last fall, well, I should say a year ago, we started doing a remodel on our bathroom, and we needed to utilize the space more effectively for that purpose. In the process, I cleaned the garage up, and I'll show you some pictures here of what it used to look like. And the picture you're looking at right now is what it looked like after it was kind of cleaned up a little bit. So, and what you're seeing here is the east wall of the garage, and this is the wall that borders the side of the house, and the doorway towards the back there leads into our family room. The next picture is the end of the garage, and that's the south end, and that's ultimately where my workbench and cabinets, main workbench and cabinets, are right now. What you see behind me here is that wall, and we started painting it. We put in some electrical. We ran in some 20 amp circuits, two 20 amp circuits, two 20 amp circuits on this end, and we ran another 20 amp circuit up into the ceiling, which supply some retractable extension cords on reels that are mounted on the ceiling. Next picture here, you're seeing various pictures of the progression of the wall as we kind of patched it in and painted it, and then ultimately we finished it and then put up some of these cabinets that you see behind me right now. On the west wall, there was a really flimsy rack hanging there that we put a rake or a couple of lawn utility light pieces on there, maybe a shovel. Really couldn't handle much weight, so we took that down. I had a ton of lumber that my father had given me, a bunch of oak, and it was stacked on the garage door end between two step ladders. So I used two step ladders as basically storage, and I'm pretty confident that I probably exceeded 3 times the published capacity of those ladders with the weight of that wood. Well, easily 12 to 1,400 pounds of. It was pretty dangerous, let's just put it that way. I wouldn't have wanted to have tipped it over or been on the receiving side of that thing avalanching. I built in a nice rack, wood rack there, and all that. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like today, kind of starting at the same area. So here we are on the north. Kind of looked into the northeast end of the garage, and I'm going to try not to be too jerky here, but this camera tripod is not really meant for video. So what you see there is the dust collection system that I made. Oops, sorry. And that is basically a furnace fan with a furnace filter on the end, and then what you see over there is the exhaust for it, and that up there is the retracting cord reels that I use, that I plug into, and I can pull those from one end of the shop to the other. They're really handy. Those are like 14-15 amps, so they handle pretty much anything I need to plug into it. That's the doorway coming in, the service door, and that is, of course, my toolbox. And yes, that is a ladder that goes up to the attic. That actually used to fold up against the wall. So I just decided to build it into the end of this workbench that you see here. Now this workbench has lights on that are currently not on. I'll see they are actually motion activated, so that when you walk into the workshop, so when you walk in the door, it automatically just turns those lights on. It's sort of convenient, and we'll call it energy saving as well. So I built these shelves here. They're really sturdy and they work quite well. I got a nice little clamp rack there, and I have another one here that I can show you in a little more detail. But that's kind of an initial work surface and a landing place when we're bringing stuff into the house. And below there's where I keep some of my table saw accessories, and then below that are these big Super Duty rugged Rubbermaid or Tupperware tote things that we put all kinds of stuff in. And I kind of designed those shelves to accept those because it made it very convenient for those. Yeah, I got a little tray of casters there. Actually, that's underneath. You can't really see it, but underneath there is a heat duct that brings in the warm air from the house, as well as cool air in the summer, and conditioned air, we'll call it. You can see these. There's a whole bunch of clamps over here yet that need to find a home and stuff. Up above is more storage with those containers in it. And again, those are like Tupperware containers, and I think we allowed about 17 inches height for those to slide in and out of there, and they work really nice. So this bench is about 32 inches deep and 10 foot long. It's a torsion style construction with 2x4s, 3/4 inch MDF, and hardboard with a polyurethane coating on top of it. Right here is a workbench, the workbench and a tape measure, and I have this little stop piece here that I put in so that you can butt up your workpiece there and then just lay it out here and along here, and it kind of measures itself out, and that works fairly well. So, and there's also these little bench dogs, kind of fake. Well, they're not fake, they actually work, but pop one of these up without being too obnoxious. But there we go. But all it is a 3/4 inch dowel, and I drilled a hole in there, and so I can pop those up if I need to do any hand planing or something. So this is a pretty sturdy bench, works pretty well. Yes, I have a little laptop there. This is kind of a little mini man cave, if you will. Lots of storage. I need storage. I am a very cluttered person, so I try to have as many places to put things as I can. And I got a TV that is both hooks up to our satellite, or it's hooked up. I can switch over to here if I want to watch YouTube videos. I have a little Bose stereo, and behind these little knick-knack shelves I built here is actually the subwoofer, and that's the control unit for it right there. So yeah, that's where I store, my stuff I grab right away. I have a remote for the air filter and a remote for my dust collector, and some optivisors with these really cool, these things are pretty neat. These I bought those from at my optometrist, and they're little lighted units, and these actually, because these optivisors are really old, so you can buy them with LED lights on it, but those are old. So, but these clamp onto the sides. They're kind of neat. So you get them at your eye doctor or something like that. But they also clamp onto your safety glasses too, which is pretty handy if you're doing some detail work and you need some lighting close up. And then I keep my ear protection here, and a couple remotes. This is a satellite receiver box, and a little magnetic strip, which is handy. I have a little Festool table here, the MFT3, and you're always kind of, there's a couple little tools that you need there, and this just keeps them pretty handy. And then here's the other tool cabinet on the wall, and as you can see, this corner needs help. So lots of storage opportunities for stuff. And below there is a air compressor and an unutilized air hose reel, and some more storage, some trash, and other goodies. Here's actually well, that's obviously a drill press on a stand on some furniture dollies. They had these on sale at Menards for like, I don't know, 10 bucks or something. And they hold 1,000 pounds, and I don't think you'd buy the casters for 10 bucks. So I just kind of turned them into rolling stands. I built a little frame on it, and boom, works out awesome. Same thing with this little bandsaw. This bandsaw is kind of interesting. I was looking to buy a nice bandsaw, and I still probably will. But at the time, I really didn't want to, I'm just getting started, so I didn't really want to fork out a lot of money on just that. So I actually bought this as a kind of a beat up old thing, and I'll show you some pictures of that in a different video. But I fixed it all up, put it on a stand, and there you go. So, and there is the wood rack, and it's a mess. But got some logs in there, stuff. I cut down some limbs, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna resaw this and all that. So haven't done that yet. Some plywood, I got several sheets of different varied thicknesses of plywood and other stuff that I'm stacking. So it needs help. My lighting here is 4 fluorescent lights and 4 incandescent bulbs, and that does actually a really good job. And you can see there's the garage door. This is my Festool table. This is my little stand there that I was using, and beneath that I made a little platform here for storage to put stuff, storage, usual stuff. There's a 10-inning jig down there that I picked up for really cheap. So yeah, over there is, let's kind of work our way over there. Over here is a really, really cheap Master Force joiner. So yeah, it's a little, I don't know, a little horse and a half. It's got a granite table, and the fence on it sucks. It's really hard to, every time I go to use it, I have to double check, and I guess it's kind of square, but it's not square like you'd want to have square. So when you're joining, you got to be really careful when you're joining with it. So lots of scrap wood. Most of the wood you see up here is actually stuff that I've reclaimed from my house as I was doing some work, just some remodeling, and I took down a lot of oak and removed some windows and opened doorways up. And a lot of it's stuff that I got from my dad. So, and then a lot of stuff's just cut-offs that I picked up here and there. And yes, I am a wood hoarder, so I've become that very quickly. I utilize this rail. Yeah, the door's functional, but I utilize that rail to hang all my dust collection hoses. And yes, back there behind the big octopus is my Jet Cyclone dust collection system. So the Cyclone part of it is, I guess it works, but what really makes it work well is that thing is awesome. And for the, I don't know, 28 bucks for that lid, and the reason that can looks all beat up is because I actually had it hooked up to my rigid shop vac, and that thing creates so much suction it actually sucked it flat. I am not kidding you. It crinkled it up into like a crushed tin can. So, or a pop can. So anyways, I braced up the inside, and I found out that the dust collection system, while it moves a higher volume of air, doesn't have such the high vacuum level that but this thing works awesome. And I'll tell you what, when you get in there, and right now you probably can't see it, maybe you can. You see in the bottom there might be maybe a couple inches of sawdust down in the bottom of that. The last time I emptied that was May of last year. This is January, actually February. And, you know, you could say, well, you must not do much woodworking. I said, I run this thing all the time. This guy collects all of it. I mean, it's pretty full. And I empty this about once a week. So that goes out with the trash every week. I know I should keep it and do some, you know, composting or something with it. But anyway, so that's up there on a 20 amp circuit. Got some windows. There's a door. This is my original bench. It was actually 2 sawhorses that I used when I was remodeling the house. And I put on a kind of an addition in the back room. And, well, not an addition, but I just did some serious remodeling. And I kind of turned it into a workbench, and then I put casters on it so I could move it around. And, you know, yeah, it's a mess, but, you know, I've got a belt sander, a big belt sander, the sanding wheel. That's a Rikon I got at Woodcraft. And then I have the smaller one that I got from my dad, this little 1-inch Delta. And then this beast of a miter saw, this rigid. Yeah, that's a 10-inch sliding, that's a 12-inch sliding miter saw with a laser that I got at Home Depot about a year ago. And for some reason, they put this thing on sale for, it was like $360. This is a $600 compound miter saw. And it just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I needed an upgrade because my old Ryobi was pretty beat. Well, it's still functional, but kind of beat. Anyways, so I got a new one of those. So I need this this area needs a lot of work. You know, as you can tell, my whole garage is, well, it's evolved. It needs to evolve more. And then there's another shot of that. Here is a newer addition to the family. Here also is this Steel City lunchbox plane that does have a spiral cutting head on there. So I was really geeked about that. And does it good for all the hype? Yeah, it is. And then of course there's my table saw, which is probably now the gem of the, and my wife actually forced me to buy this. Yeah. I'll tell you, SawStop's best marketing tool is a woodworker's wife that watches the SawStop video. And yes, I was looking in the market for a cabinet saw, and I was looking at some Grizzlies, and I was just, and I was kind of, you know, I'm like I said, I'm new, and there's so many things I need to get, but I hate wasting money. When it comes to buying tools, I always want to, I kind of migrate to go for the best I can afford. I had a rigid contractor's saw, which I thought was really good. I've never had a problem with it, but it was just way underpowered. And I found myself really struggling. So I knew I needed more horsepower. And anyways, I happened to be at Woodcraft, and I was looking and asking questions, and he handed me the video. Took it home, played it. My wife said, I do not want you using your old table saw. So I didn't know if this meant I was going to have to give up woodworking, but she told me to pull the trigger and get it. So I did, and I wish I could give you a great review on how this saw compares to others. I can't. All I can say is this was a huge step up from where I was, and I'm bad mouthing the rigid, but there's just no comparison. This thing is awesome, and it is a sweetheart. This is the 3-horse with the 36-inch extension on it. I did pick up a different fence for it, and that's a whole another topic. This is the sled I made, and this does not come with it. This is something that I inherited from my father, which is the Ankara miter fence, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice, but you have to be a little careful with a SawStop because of conductive thing. You know. Anyways, another story. And on the floor I have these mats, which are pretty handy. I know the floor looks kind of nasty, but this actually is a very efficient garage. The floor is actually new. I poured it about 7 or 8 years ago. 2 inches of blue board, or paint board actually, below it before we poured it, and I am so glad I did that. Makes it very comfortable in here. The walls are all insulated, the doors are insulated, the garage door is insulated, and the windows are new, they're insulated. These walls have been insulated, as has been the attic above the garage door. That's about 1 year's worth of my effort so far. I've probably been spending more time working on the workshop than I have been doing other projects as of late, but it's a lot of fun either way. I really enjoy it. So anyways, that's where I am as of February of 2013, and hopefully you enjoyed it and weren't bored to death. But hopefully down the road I'll have something new to talk about and some new ideas. I have a lot of things that I plan on doing as far as for organizing, and we'll see. Maybe I'll make some videos about that as I start making some of that stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please like, subscribe, or comment, however you like. Talk to you later. See ya.